Hey guys, Mando's here for a quick word. Last week I told y'all how some of you refer to this as Russo's rants. Well, if you haven't already heard episode 22 or 23 with Dave and Kim, go check that out. They talked about the power of words and how words even make you feel. And personally, the word rant has a negative connotation to me. So we're sticking with a quick word. And this week's a quick word is inspired by one of my personal favorite podcasters that I know personally. I am fortunate enough to have been a guest on his podcast, and it was my favorite guesting experience. And he's helped me a lot with the podcast since its began. And I saw 2 different clips he posted of a recent episode he aired, and it's ironic. I shared one of the clips on my Instagram story before I even fully listened to the full episode, where he actually gave me a shout out. So this is my shout out to Jared Carroll, who was also on Mando's Mindset twice, and no other guest has made 2 appearances yet. So special shout out to Jared. And he talked about how we all go through pain, and pain is different for everybody. But he also discussed that pain has a purpose. And you're not going to go through something that you're not meant to. And Jared titled his episode, Pain Has Purpose. And it really does. He was inspired by a clip he saw of the Janko show from Janko and Candace Owens talking about how God is putting you through this because you asked for it in some way. Maybe not verbatim, and Jared also emphasizes whether it's God, universe, source, Allah, whatever you believe in. And I would even say, even if you don't believe in a higher power, pain does have a purpose. Because what would life be if we didn't go through pain? You know, I spoke to a dear friend of mine, Chris G., who was the first guest on Mando's Mindset. Y'all loved that podcast. But he said to me recently when I was going through something pretty difficult, he was like, Manda, what would life be if it was simple and easy? It wouldn't be any fun. If you didn't have to go through anything, your pain has a purpose. And we often don't see that purpose in the moment. It might be days, weeks, months, years before you see the purpose of the pain that you are going through. And I went through a painful experience, even though it was something that I did want, even though I didn't want it to happen the way that it did. And it was challenging. But now I am understanding the full reason for this painful experience because it brought me to where I am. And now I'm embarking on something I'm so grateful for. And had I not had to lose and experience that painful thing that I did, I wouldn't now be having what I have. And it's tough to see in the moment what the pain is for. And it's always easier said than done. But that's where it also comes in, the mental health aspect of it, in reaching out, whether it's to a therapist, whether it's to people you're close with, whether it's journaling about it. But also there comes a point at the same time, you got to feel your feelings, but at some point you need to let it go and move on from it, because you can only sit in that energy for so long. Whatever happened, happened. You need to feel it. You need to process it and push forward, though, because so often in society nowadays, so many people get offended over so many things. And everybody just has to watch what they say without being worried about quote unquote getting canceled. And it's just, you need to feel the feelings, but at the same time, you need to understand pain is a part of life. Breakups are a part of life. Losing your job is a part of life. Death is a part of life. Do these things feel good in the moment? Of course not. They suck. But coming to the realization that this is a part of life and you will always experience this. This is a circle of life, just like the good moments in life, the birth of your child, the start of a new job, the start of a relocation because you're moving. More on that later, guys. But it's just coming to understanding, whether you believe in God or whether you don't believe in any higher power, that this painful experience is happening in your life for some reason. You're very likely not going to understand why in the moment. But I highly encourage you to keep in the back of your mind, at the very least, that at some point in your life, you're going to look back at this painful moment and be like, damn, this is why this happened, because now I have XYZ, or I am able to do this. And it'll make sense. It'll take time, but it will make sense. And I encourage you all to think back to some painful experience that you experienced in your life. You made it past it. We have all made it past every single painful experience we've endured thus far. Even the ones in the moments we thought, damn, I'm never going to fucking get through this. But guess what, guys? You made it to the other side of that. And if you're going through it right now and you're on rock bottom and you feel like you're in the mud, I encourage you to think back to a different time you went through a painful experience and you pushed through it, because you did that. We've all done it. So that being said, it's easier said than done. But the moral of the story and the title of my episode is still, your pain has purpose. It really does. You aren't going to go through something for no reason. And that's even like the quote, everything happens for a reason, which I have a love-hate relationship with that quote. I'm the quote queen, but I have a love-hate relationship with that quote, y'all. But you will understand the purpose of things that happen in your life. They might still be shitty things later on in life, but you will have a better understanding of why they occurred as time goes on. If you look back at past experiences in your life, I bet you'll understand more so now why it happened. One other thing I do want to mention to y'all. Jared Carroll mentioned this on his episode. He referenced it from Joe Rogan, from the Joe Rogan Experience. But he talked about how the worst thing you've ever been through is the worst thing that you've ever been through. I can't say anything to that, and nobody else can. And everyone feels pain differently. What might feel like the worst thing in the world to me and I don't know how I'm going to make it through might not feel like a big deal to somebody else. Because we are all different and unique in what feels certain ways to us. Which also leads me into the conversation of we need to be more authentic and vulnerable in speaking up about things. But moral of the story, guys, overall, your pain has a purpose. You wouldn't be put through it for no reason. And life's not meant to be easy. If it was easy and simple and sunshine and rainbows, that would be no fun if it was that all the time. Come on now, if you think about that, the plots and the twists and turns, for those of you who know me personally, I make a lot of interesting decisions in my life, and I make the joke all the time that, hey, at the end of the day, it's a story I have to tell. And you know what? I'm going to be that 75-year-old grandma with all these fun stories. So on that note, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Amanda's Mindset. And I encourage you to keep in mind, when you're going through pain, don't be afraid to reach out to people or seek the help that you do need, and to feel your feelings, cry it out, meditate, do some breath work, journal. But also keep in mind, your pain has a purpose. In case no one told you today, I'm proud of you, I'm rooting for you, and you got this. As always, if you enjoyed the show, share it with anyone you think would benefit from this. And don't forget, you are only one mindset shift away from shifting your life. Thanks, guys. Until next time.